Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network. 1 week of NFL football in the books. And this week, today, we're going to overreact as well as give you our picks for next week here on this episode. We are live. The show is brought to you by Fanspeak.com. Fanspeak can't talk. Fanspeak Degen subscription is live. Just $34.99 for the entire year. It includes NFL in-season content, bets, DFS, Battle Royale, and more. Link in the show description. Also in the show description is the mention of our guest today. Brought in to victory lap the Packers Week 1 ascension to being a true Super Bowl contender. Jamie, seem pretty happy, but got to ask you just for sure. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, man. It's a great day to be great. You know, last time we were on, we gave our rankings. So I feel good. I was highest on Jordan Love. I was also the highest on Justin Herbert, which I want to take a Week 1 victory lap on that when you guys laughed at me for having him as my number 5th overall quarterback. I got to get that in now before that changes, but I'm doing good, man. I'm
that makes sense for our Thursday. Okay.
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Great. Tyler, how are things in Pittsburgh? The offensive juggernaut is there, but can the defense stop anybody?
Yeah, I mean, man, that defense looked bad. The defense looked bad, but here's what I keep telling everybody that keeps saying the defense looked bad. The Jets' O-line was projected to be a top 5 unit, and man, they might be one of them because they pushed that defense around like they weren't even there all game.
All right. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what happens next week in Pittsburgh. So we're combining the format. We're going to be overreacting to these games while we look ahead to next week. But let's jump in the chat real quick. Paul says his favorite matchup is going to be our first game on the board, Washington at Green Bay. And of course, I'm going to be able to set that game up. I'm going to set the table for us to speak about it. And of course, you're going to get my rant on how stupid having a premier matchup like this on 3 days rest really is. Justin Bruni's in the chat with us. Mike Robb making the same. Are you sure you're not Mike Robb? Oh, wait, I've seen him in real life. Otherwise, Tyler, I would really think this was you. My guy, Huham's in the chat. Justin Bruni now has Aaron Rodgers 5th on his QB list. Are you excited, Tyler?
I mean, I'm not looking for a Super Bowl spread. Like, not with this team.
Wait a minute. That's what you were looking for because you wanted to fire Tomlin because 10-7
not with this roster. I'm going to tell you right now, after watching Sunday Night Football, I don't care what the Steelers do. They ain't competing with either likes of the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and I kind of agree. And Mike Robb, I see your next question in the chat, and we'll get to that when we get to the game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll actually be third on the docket. But let's start with Thursday Night Football. Let's get my obligatory. This high premier matchup game should not be played on 3 weeks rest. Roger Goodell didn't still hear me. It's a waste of time. But the Washington Commanders, it was plus 3.5. Do you guys still have 3.5? So I see it creeping down to 3 offshore, but it's definitely juiced towards the favorite there. The Green Bay Packers, what a dominating debut. And before we break down this game, let's talk about each one of their games. One of them I got right, and one of them I got wrong. So, Jamie, you'll be happy to know that I was with you. But unfortunately, I took those delicious, delicious points with the G-Man. And dang, I mean, Russell Wilson, I mean, just send him to the laundromat because, I mean, it's just washed. What were your thoughts there when you watched the Packers dismantle the Lions? Because I have some thoughts of my own. But obviously was pretty excited to win that bet. And it was nice that we didn't have a crazy comeback because I was a little worried when the Packers jumped out early that it might be one of those ones that went down to the wire and I would be mad at counting my money at halftime. What did you and the Packers fan think of that thorough dominating victory to put you atop the NFC North?
Yeah, it was an awesome game, man. I mean, the thing with the Packers the last couple of years is, you know, they beat some of the bad to mediocre teams, but they struggled against the good teams. Like last year, they lost to the Lions twice, the Vikings twice, the Eagles twice. So it was good to get out there and kind of punch the Lions in the mouth a little bit and, make sure it's known that the Packers are the team in the NFC North. This team is good, man. It's I knew that the Micah Parsons addition was obviously going to be impactful. I underestimated it, honestly. For as high as I was on the move, the energy, I could feel the energy through the TV, man. I've never seen these guys so juiced up. These guys are running after the ball. Everyone on the sideline was just super amped up. It was an awesome game to watch. Jordan Love looked great. Only had to throw the ball 6 times in the second half or whatever it was. So this team is going to be good, man. I think, we talked about it. What was that, a month and a half ago when we came on? I have that plus 2,500 Packers to win the Super Bowl ticket. That is now, last time I checked, was plus 800. So I'm feeling good about that. And obviously, look, I am biased. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's an objective viewpoint too. I think the Packers are just really good. And we talked about this too a couple months ago, that we kind of thought the Lions were going to regress a little bit, which was kind of the thesis for me taking Green Bay at plus 2,500 anyways. We'll talk about the Eagles as well and the Lions a little bit later on. But I think both of those teams were due to regress a little bit due to some of the changes on both sides of the ball. So I was pretty stoked about it. It was a fun game to watch as a Packer fan. So I'm excited to break down that Thursday night game too.
All right. Let me touch on a couple things that you said real quick. I mean, I agree with you. I think the Packers ceiling is just really Jordan Love's decision-making. If he cuts down on those turnovers, they're going to be right there with Philadelphia at the end. And isn't that one of the cool things about football? You talk about the energy. Let's say it's basketball, Jamie. And in our little example, let's just say you're a badass dude, right? Mm-hmm. You come to my team, that actually lessens my opportunities, though, right? Because we got to get you the ball. You're a matchup nightmare, this and that. In NFL, on the defensive level, you're a badass dude. You come to my team, and now what happens? I get way more opportunities because you're getting triple teamed.
Yep.
So now I'm, instead of me having a crazy matchup, right, I get a way better matchup. And I think that all the Packers defensive players, kind of felt that on the field. Boy, look at all the gravity this guy's taking. This makes my job a lot easier. Tyler, your thoughts real quick on the Packers, and I'm going to give a little feedback on the Lions. And then, of course, I want to ask you guys both about the Commanders and the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot right before the season started, right after that trade happened. Second best team in the NFC. I think the only team still better than them in the NFC right now is Philly. And we could see that change in the next coming weeks, depending on how each team looks. But, I mean, that defense is going to be a problem. Even though losing Jaire Alexander, you think their secondary would take a little bit of a loss. But with Micah Parsons there, that front seven is just too much to deal with. Him, Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker, Edrin Cooper, that defense is loaded in the front. So there's not much you can do. And when they get a lead, they just start handing it off to Josh Jacobs, which becomes a problem. And they can still hit you with a play action. And the receiver room, reading over it, it looks like Dubes has played the most snaps, and Golden just took Watson's role. Wicks was still the number 2 receiver when it was 2 receiver sets. And Reed just played in the slot. Never played in 2 receiver sets. So offense still seems like it's going to be the same from last year, and the defense is going to be even better. So I agree with you. This is all in love now.
All right. So now let's put the pom-poms away and let's talk about the Detroit Lions real quick. How much do we downgrade them? And remember, this will go into a little bit of my criticism here when we get to the Bears game coming up. But remember, I said, how easy is it to call plays when you have the best offensive line in the league? And I, for one, really saw the downgrade of the center. That a lot of times Packers getting pressure up the middle, and we know they have great players and they can beat the blocking, but there wasn't even a blocker there. So not only is the new center not as good at rush and pass blocking, he's not setting up the offense as well. And that might have a lot to do with the new coordinator. Jamie, I'll start with you. How much are we downgrading Detroit, or do you just think that Green Bay's so great that they would make, Detroit's going to look fine when they get the opportunity next week?
Well, I think both things can be true. I think Green Bay also could be really, really good. And I also think Detroit could be downgraded. I don't think Detroit's all of a sudden going to be like a 6 or 7 win team. Mm-hmm. I think they're closer probably to a 9 or 10 win team. I mean, losing Frank Ragnow is, pretty significant, right? And then you also talk about both offense coordinator and defensive coordinators leaving. Jared Goff has just not been good with anyone other than Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. I know it's easy to say that because success at the quarterback position is generally correlated to a good offensive coordinator or a good offensive head coach. So I know it's easier to say that. I don't think this team is a Super Bowl contender this year. I thought their last shot was last year. I still think they'll be a 9 to 10 win team. They still have too many weapons, right? You still have Gibbs and Amon-Ra. I think they need to play that the Tesla guy. That guy needs to be playing way more snaps for that team. You know, they got Laporta, JMO. Like, they still have talented pieces on the offensive side of the ball. So, like I said, I don't think this team's all of a sudden going to be like a 6-win team, but I definitely think that they are. I think that they're maybe the 6th or 7th best team in the NFC, maybe 8th. I don't know. I haven't really broken it down enough for detail.
It could still be in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, it could.
At least.
It definitely could. But like I said, yeah, I
think only one NFC team scored more than 24 points this weekend. If I remember right off the top of my head. Tyler, Lions, what are we doing?
I mean, I already was downgrading them before the season. We talked about that a lot. I said that the loss of the coordinators plus the addition of the loss of Frank Ragnow after the draft and after free agency, so they couldn't go and replace that, was just too much to handle right in one offseason. So I was already thinking they were coming down to right around where Jamie said, right around 9 wins. They probably still make the playoffs, but it's going to be a wild card team. I don't think they really make much noise in the playoffs. So they'll score a bunch of points. They'll be fun for fantasy, but I think that's about it for the Lions.
Good heights, Mike Rob. Do you have your reading glasses on too? He's giving shouts out. For those who don't know, let me see if I can do this properly. Dang it. This button. It's NFL Blitz right behind him there. That is, like Mike Rob says, a true sign that he knows ball. I want to talk about I guess we can talk. Do you want to talk about the Giants when we get to the Cowboys?
Yes.
Let's just talk about it now because we got to talk about the Commanders anyways. The Commanders look good, but my takeaway is just that the Giants were way worse than I thought. I mean, obviously they're missing their best offensive lineman. We saw that like Minnesota's missing an awesome offensive lineman. The Los Angeles Chargers were winning awesome offensive linemen, and they got solid victories this week. I mean, the Giants are just bad, and I thought that pass rush was going to be there. It's one thing if Jaden Daniels beat you, but I didn't even think the pass rush was that good. What's going on? And I heard some criticism of Dayball, and I think this might be on the New York Giants subreddit. I don't even know if it was an official person, but like, do we know that this guy's a good actual like developer of players, or is he just kind of like our guy down in Miami where he's a great play caller and good with the quarterback and not too much else? Jamie, your thoughts on the New York Giants in that Washington Commanders game? And if you didn't watch much of it, I mean, the Giants didn't give us any reason to even think it was going to be competitive. What'd you think?
Russell Wilson sucks, man. Like he
shouldn't be out there. Like, what's the point?
He is terrible. Like, I think the only way Brian Daboll's job gets saved is after they start off 0-4 or 1-5, whatever it is, and puts Jackson Dart in there, and then Jackson Dart starts winning games and looks good.
Yeah, they run off like 9 in a row or something.
100%. And I mean, they need Andrew Thomas back too. Their offensive line is rough, but Russell Wilson sucks, dude. Like
But my point is, your team sucks if you lose one offensive lineman and you just can't block. And it's not like that's a fearsome defensive line that they face. No offense to the Commanders fans in the chat that I see here.
No, I do think we all talked about, before the season that their defense was going to be much better with the pass rush and that they should have had maybe a better defensive unit than they looked on Sunday. But offensively, they're not going to win very many games with Russell Wilson. It's Malik Neighbors is already snapping on Dayball on the sideline. I do think this Giants team, could be saved by getting Andrew Thomas back, getting Jackson Dart, who, by the way, just a feather in my cap is I did say that he was my number 1 overall quarterback after the draft, if you remember that. Nothing has been proven yet, but I still feel very confident about that. I think Jackson Dart is like the real deal. So I'm hoping he comes back. I hope it's a little bit down the road though, after this team's like 0-5, and then he gets to come in and kind of sling the ball. But I do have a decent amount of Malik Neighbors shares, so I honestly wouldn't mind if Russell Wilson got benched for Jameis and let Jameis kind of sling it for a bit, lose some games, and then you put in Jackson Dart. But I think Dayball knows what he's doing as far as like he's going to wait a little bit to put in Jackson Dart. So if you go 0-5 or 1-5, whatever it is, you're not expected to make the playoffs, and then you play Jackson Dart, let's say you go 500 the rest of the way, maybe your job is salvaged. But he's definitely on the chopping block. And I was a Dayball fan too. Just kind of like I was a Mike McDaniel fan, but some of these coaches now are showing
to be
there's
fair,
levels
on
to
that
it.
same subreddit, somebody posted their draft picks over the last 3 years.
They're
Yeah, it
There's like
has not
3
been
good
good.
picks out of 21. So,
Yeah,
but then that also comes down to player development, because that's always say why I like Tomlin and Vrabel. And yeah, the coaching sucks, and they make terrible timeout mistakes, right? But I'm like, yeah, but they're developing these like 3rd and 4th round draft picks and these undrafted free agents to be playable guys. Where and who knows if the Giants or maybe the GM just sucks, but these guys are getting to New York and they're not getting any better. Tyler, your turn. Pretend you're a caller to New York Talk Radio. Talk to me about the New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean, Russ, agree with Jamie. Not it. He wasn't it last year with the Steelers. He's got to go. I would go Jameis before you go Dart, even though I think, of course, Dart's going to be your long-term guy, but you just don't want to throw him to the Wolves already, especially with Andrew Thomas banged up. I think Dable might go to him quicker than we expect just because he's on the chopping block. You start 0-5, they might just fire you and let the next guy start Dart and then go get their next coach at the end of the season. So I think he might go to him a little quicker than expected. You can't even get a good number really on Dart to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's almost like they're expecting it. He's still only 20-1. Yeah. So it's just the Giants are bad. Their pass rush will get to some of these teams. So it's hard to get to a mobile quarterback like Jaden Daniels.
But they weren't even making him be mobile.
I mean,
it's one thing if you see him bouncing around in the back and dodging, and what are you supposed to do? But it didn't feel like that at all.
No, but I mean, there were some plays that they got back there, but he just got rid of the ball. So I mean, they didn't look good.
He is really good at that. That's kind of one of his underrated traits too, Daniels as well.
He's really good. It's the Giants, and they're really bad. So
they're bad.
Yeah.
All right, a couple thoughts just from me studying New York media and the subreddit. Supposedly, in New York Giants practice, Daboll barely even talks to Wilson and Winston, and he's hip to Jackson Dart. So I think that's the idea. It's just when it's going to happen. And my thinking, and this is just my pure speculation, I didn't get this from any source, but when he says Russ is going to start that week, that means Andrew Thomas isn't playing next week because I can't imagine he's going to put his prize people out there without Andrew Thomas in the game. Now let's get to this Thursday night. One more disclaimer, unless you're late, playing these premier matchups on 3 days rest is stupid. But regardless, that's what we've got. The Green Bay Packers laying 3 totals, 48. Jamie, I can't wait to disagree. Tell me why you're going to lay the lumber. Lay the 3.5 for the Green Bay Packers.
So the line opened at 2.5. I honestly just took the money line at -170, to be honest, and didn't even mess around with the points. The 3.5 is always tricky, but I'll be honest, like I think this could be a situation where we look down in like week 7, week 8, and like we would be surprised that this number was 3.5 and not like 6.5, 7. I just don't think people fully realize how good that this Packers team is. I mean, they've been the youngest team in the year for the last several years. So these younger guys are getting better and better. You added Micah Parsons to that team. Lucas Van Ness just had the best game he's ever had as a Packer. I don't think that's a coincidence. Evan Williams, I think, is a 1 or 2 years away from being an all-pro safety. They already have Xavier McKinney. Edgerrin Cooper is the best linebacker on this team. Like, this guy is an all-pro linebacker already. I guarantee it, man. He is the real deal. So I'm super optimistic about this team. The one downside with Green Bay is it doesn't sound like Zach Tom's going to play the right tackle for Green Bay. He's their best offensive lineman. And one issue with Green Bay last year is they did struggle a little bit with depth. They tried to fix that a little bit here in the offseason by getting some guys and drafting a few guys in the draft as well. But I still think they're mostly going to be okay. I mean, I think Washington, from a scheme perspective, their defense is kind of similar to the Lions. Both teams play man coverage at a top 5 rate. Both teams blitz at a top 5 rate, but both teams struggle to get pressure on the quarterback, even when they blitz. I think Washington ranked like 20th last year in that. They ranked like 3rd in blitz rate, but 20th in pressure percentage. And that's historically something where Love is going to eat up. Like Love, when he was blitzed this past Sunday, went 9 for 11, 138 yards, a touchdown, 12.1 yards per attempt. And one of his 2 incompletions was the only drop of the day by Jaden Reed. So I don't think that's bodes well for Washington. I love Josh Jacobs here too. They want to get Josh Jacobs the ball. The reality is the Lions loaded up the box. They played man coverage, and they said, "You are not beating us with Josh Jacobs. Beat us with Jordan Love." And he did that. And once he did that, what happened in the second half? Josh Jacobs was able to get going a little bit. So I like Green Bay here. I would still lay the 3.5, to be honest. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm just betting on that in 6 or 7 to 8 weeks, we're going to look back and Green Bay is going to be up there in the talks of Baltimore and Buffalo as far as like that elite of a team. And I think Washington is a good team, but I'm not fully convinced that they are this juggernaut of a team. I still think there's holes on this team and on the defensive side of the ball as well. So I like Green Bay. I know Tyler has a nice little prop too with Jacobs that he'll talk about. So I like that as well. Again, am I biased? Absolutely. But I also do try to look at these things objectively and just kind of look at the numbers. And I'm just optimistic about this Green Bay team going forward, man. I just think that they're the real deal. I think they have the second best defense in the league behind the Denver Broncos. And I think they have a top 5 to 7 offense, to be honest, too. So that's my thoughts. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Well, here, let me jump in. I'm going to
Okay.
take the opposite side, and then we're going to let Tyler break the tie. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
So first of all, we did the Jamie full screen earlier. Let's do me. Do you see all this? There's no color in this hair. This hair is all white. That shows you I'm an old man. And I'm going to be an old man here, and I'm going to take the points in a primetime game. So Jamie ran down that elite Green Bay Packers defense. And as we talked about in breakdown of week 1, and I don't even know if we were overreacting. It felt like it was the proper reaction, not an overreaction. When we talked about how good this defense was and how a player like Micah Parsons doesn't need to get this attack, doesn't need to get the tackle for loss to make his impact felt. And I felt that all his teammates took advantage of that as well. But what I'm really betting on when I'm taking these points is the greatness of Jaden Daniels, because really at what other reason can you make this bet? I would say that maybe because Matthew Golden still has to develop a little bit. I could say that I have a better wide receiving core because I do have Debo and Terry, two established veteran wide receivers.
Can I interject
however,
for 1 second?
Of course.
We could argue that Detroit had a better running back room, wide receiver room, tight end room, and they didn't stand a chance on Sunday.
Yep.
I know, because there's one man that changes everything, and it's Jaden Daniels. And we saw Jaden Daniels do this in the playoffs against Detroit, because when they played Detroit in the playoffs last year, where was Washington better? One position only. Well, I mean, maybe you could say that Dan Quinn's a better head coach than Dan Campbell, but that's really close, and that's really splitting hairs. Yeah. But my point is on this. Jaden Daniels is so good that even the best defenses can't stop him, because he's that weird cheat code that you can't prepare for. When you're that fast, when you're that much of a playmaker, you can't prepare for it. Who are you going to throw back there? I mean, I guess Malik Willis could somewhat try and do that for you on your practice squad, but I just think that Jaden Daniels is kind of that game changer, and that he keeps us close. Jamie absolutely right. For 55 minutes of this game, they're up by 9, 10. Pretty obvious it's the Packers' victory. You don't think Jaden Daniels is live for that backdoor cover, especially with these weapons? So I'm being the old man. I'm taking the points here. Is it one of my favorite bets of the week? I don't know, but I love talking about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Tyler, take it away.
Yeah, I'll break the tie and think you know where I'm leaning. I'm going to be on Green Bay. I think Washington's a really good football team. I think there's tiers in the NFC right now. I think Philly might be in a tier of their own as of right now. Green Bay's creeping up there. I think you have the likes of Green Bay and maybe that might in the Rams as of right now in this tier 2. Mm-hmm. And then I think Washington's in a tier of their own in tier 3. And then below them's all these other teams, the Detroits and the likes of these other 49ers, all these teams that can't get past Washington. It's almost like Washington in their one season of becoming good became a gatekeeper to the NFC, because they beat a lot of these teams in the NFC, but they can't beat the really, really good ones. They couldn't handle Philly last year. And what did Philly do to beat them a lot last year? They ran the ball right down their throat. Green Bay and Matt LaFleur and Josh Jacobs are going to take that same approach on Thursday. They're going to get a lead. And, yeah, Jaden Daniels might be the better quarterback, and he can make magic happen. but he can't make magic happen when he's standing on the sideline without the ball because Green Bay has it for 8 minutes per possession, and Josh Jacobs just keeps working his way down and falling in the end zone. So I'll be on the over 78.5. I'll take his 100 plus. And if you take his anytime touchdown in Green Bay's money line, it gets you plus 105. I don't hate that either. So I think Green Bay takes care of business on Thursday.
Jamie, what player props have you targeted for this game?
I haven't touched anything yet. I'm probably going to look at some Josh Jacobs stuff. I also kind of like I haven't looked at what the number is, but Jordan Love over 1.5. I don't think he's going to have to throw the ball a ton, but I just think he's going to be hyper efficient, and I think we saw that last week. I think we're going to see that going forward. I don't think he's a guy that's going to end up putting up a ton of volume stats this year, just because he's likely going to throw the ball 25 to 28 times a game on most occasions. But I do think he's a guy that's probably going to consistently get you 2 touchdowns each week. So I kind of like that look too. I haven't touched it yet. Like I said, I only took Green Bay, but I'll probably take a prop or 2.
All right, fair enough. I'm gonna back my pick with a couple props. I'm gonna go over on Debo receiving yards, and I'm gonna go over on Bill Krosky-Merritt rushing yards. Both of them easily exceeded their props last week, and I know that's not the best way to do things. But at week 2, I'm kind of fine with that. I don't think it's a 1 week spike. I think Debo took advantage of the time that Terry McLaurin missed in camp to really establish himself. And hey, I hate to bring this up and be so cynical, but it's a contract year for Debo too. So I think he's had a lot of incentive to come in shape, work hard, and really develop that chemistry. The other thing with Krosky-Merritt, I mean, he's really what Eckler was at this point when you're actually looking at athleticism. I understand that Eckler's a smart player, and he's probably really good to have in the locker room because everything I've heard about him, he's this really good person. But you can't watch that game and when they switch, when Eckler ran the first 2 series, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when they bring in the closer in baseball and he throws like 96, right? I mean, just felt like everything got faster for the whole team. And in a game like this, I think you're going to need everything. And you spoke about how well Jordan Love played that week. And I do think he was the beneficiary of that Packers defense. So if I'm going to be right, and if Washington's going to keep this game close and cover the spread, and we've had great primetime games so far, so I won't be surprised if we got another nice one cooking up. But Washington's got to keep this close early because they got to kind of put some pressure on Love and maybe even get a lead and force them to throw a little bit. That's where you're going to get those mistakes, because if the game script is Packers jump out early and they play exactly where they want, no pressure on them, I might be a little worried about my 3.5 there. So, but this is fun. We got each opposite sides of the argument here. Any final thoughts on this game or these teams before we move to the Sunday slate?
Nope, I'm good to move to Sunday.
All right, Tyler, you know that it's September and it's JC Zargo's favorite thing. You will see a selfie of me in the sportsbook this weekend. I'll be traveling up to Reno to play some of these bets live, not just doing it online. And so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm going to need your guys' advice here because I want to crush the Sunday slate. It's so funny. The money's exactly the same, but there's just something different about getting paid off in that cold, hard cash, either at 1:15 or 4:15 p.m. out here on the West Coast. And so for some ever reason, these weeks that I travel live just mean that much more to me. I know it shouldn't, but it's almost like a revenge game for an NBA player. But the first game on the docket is the only one I bet on so far. And I want you to tell me if I'm overreacting. I took the New England Patriots over the Miami Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins are terrible. And it's funny, I talked about it with some of my coworkers at UPS too. And, she's a Dolphins fan. And I say, it's just like in here. I said, a guy can be as smart as he wants and you have all the great ideas. But if you can't tell anyone what to do and all the guys lose respect for him, it's not going to run well, And I feel that's the way that Mike McDaniel is. I think he's rightfully so the leader and the first head coach to be fired, because you listen to these players that leave Miami and they say it's a joke there. They say nobody shows up on time. Everybody does whatever they want. And it's the softest practices in the NFL. They're not hitting hard. They're not getting red. And I think that's why, other than the skill positions, that this team has seriously regressed here. Now, my worry is that I'm doing the typical week 2 thing and just overreacting to one bad game against an Indianapolis Colts team that might be a lot better than we thought. And maybe because I'm a Raiders fan, I'm rating my team and that win over the or that close game over the Patriots higher than I should. But I took the Patriots here. I took the points. I took the money line. My idea was that if I changed my mind, I should be able to buy back, but I don't know if that's the case. I had +1.5. It's down to +1. Jamie, I could still buy out now, though. I'd just be in a little half-point bubble. Do you suggest that I buy out, or do you think I'm on the right track here? I don't even know if I'm betting on the Patriots. I'm just fading the Dolphins. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you're on the right side. The line opened at +2.5, so it's still trending down. I think the Patriots are the right side. Miami looks really, really bad, man. Tua looks awful. He's going to have to play better. This team just feels like a team that's like on the verge of just blowing up. Tyreek already snapping. This guy could pull an Antonio Brown literally any week and just storm off the field in the middle of the game. Mike McDaniel could get fired any week. I think that they're a disaster. Their offensive line's not good. Their defense isn't good. I just don't think they're a very good football team. I still like a guy like Achane, but I think they got to get him way more involved in the passing game early. He had like 0 targets in the first half, which is just wild to me. You just got to be able to force feed him the ball. He's a guy who honestly should get like 6 to 8 targets a minimum every single game. But I'm with you on the Patriots. I like Drake May quite a bit. He didn't look the best last week against your Raiders, but threw the ball a ton. Their pass rate over expectation was really high, which is kind of surprising. I think that the Patriots are a sneaky good team. I love Trevion Henderson. I think it's only a matter of time before he kind of eclipses Ramondre there. I do get a little worried about the receivers. The receiver situation is pretty tough, but I do like the Patriots side here. I've not bet it, but that is where I would lean. So I think you're good with it. I would stay put and trust
So
your
you're saying to let it ride. Also, a couple more things about the Patriots, and I think this is going to be. Let's see if the game's past Josh McDaniels by. When he was with the Raiders, so many players talked about what a tough playbook that was to learn. And it looks like May might have struggled with it a little bit. Is he smart enough to draw it back? I don't think you need the most intricate play schemes to defeat this defense. And I'm sure they're going to be talking about it more. And we're not doing a full DFS show, but I'm stacking the team against Miami every week. So go ahead, throw Trevion in there, Diggs in there. I think Boothday gets it done again. I mean, there's plenty of options here. Maybe even throw Drake May in there. I mean, he might look like, have an argument best quarterback in that draft class after going against this defense. Tyler, are you going to join us here with the Patriots, or are you going to bounce back a little and take the Miami Dolphins?
No, I am 100% on the Patriots with you guys. I think this is an easy spot for him. Give me the money line. Probably use them in a teaser, bump them up to 7.5 with another team we'll talk about later. It just seems like a good spot. Like, yeah, they lost to the Raiders. We talked about that in week 1. I thought that was a spot the Raiders could win. The addition of Geno, the addition of Pete Carroll. Geno throws for almost 400 yards in that game. Brock Bowers ends up going down late, but he has a huge game. And May makes the one mistake. He almost threw for 300 yards. He throws the interception. They lose by a touchdown. I think the Raiders might be better than a lot of people think. And just like our guy Steve saying in the chat, Miami really doesn't have any leaders. No one's there. There's no vet in the room to come in and just be like, hey, guys, we got to band together and we got to do this. Like, Tyreek Hill's probably supposed to be your vet. Not going to work. So I think it's a prime spot for the Patriots, and I think it's a prime spot for Hunter Henry. We watched Tyler Warren carve up this defense last week, and they did it more through the air. Like, Jonathan Taylor only had 78 yards on the ground and didn't even score. But you look at the snap counts for the Patriots, and Hunter Henry was out there for all but 5 plays that Drake May was out there. He ran 39 routes, and he had the most targets at 8. I'll be on Hunter Henry this week at his numbers. I think he crushes his Miami defense. So some spots, and I'll be on Patriots.
And we talked about coaching changes, and you brought that up with Geno throwing for all those yards. Another thing I want to throw up when talking about that game. In my mind, it's felt like Vrabel or the defensive coordinator decided we're not going to let Genty beat us. He had a lot of big boxes there. So when you look, you go, 6 for 24, whatever. I mean, it didn't look good statistically, but it was just like the Micah Parsons thing. You don't need to make a play. If you got 8 people in the box, you already did your job as a running back. And I think that's what allowed a lot of those things. So I also want to see if New England does that again. I don't know if A-Chain, obviously he's so great, but it's such a different style of play. He doesn't break tackles like they were expecting Genty to be able to. So I want to see how New England adjusts on both sides of the ball. But if they make these obvious adjustments that, a guy that I'd never even put pads on, I could see that stuff just from watching football and betting on it after all these years. I'm thinking that they're going to be able to as well. I'm going to check in with the chat real quick. Steve says, Miami's issue is the lack of leaders on both sides of the ball. What is their identity? Who fires this team to come back up? And it's almost like anti-leadership in the case of Tyreek Hill. Like Tyler said, we don't know when he's going to storm off the field and have to head down to the hospital and be in the delivery room for another baby. So we got one guy who's definitely not focused on the team there, not a good leader. And then we did the thing with the defense on which game, Tyler, where you read off all the names. I mean, we could do that with Miami right now as well. Just not a lot of talent on that side of the ball. One more from Steve. He said, we saw guys like Allen and Rodgers come back in tough game. Feels like Miami has zero chance of doing that. And I've also read, because I enjoy going on the Reddits and just seeing what the fans say, because they, we watch Red Zone and I had the Raiders game on my second TV. They watch every second of their team. A lot of Dolphins fans felt that Tua was actually concussed in that game and they left him in there and that his decision-making got worse and worse. I didn't see that. I didn't rewatch the game, and it was Red Zone, so it's just flipping back and forth for me. But that could have been a possibility. And if so, it's not necessarily that he'll be good next week. We know it's punch drunk, right? That's what they called it in the 50s for boxing. These concussions are cumulative. So we'll see how that is. Meg says, enjoy it, and I will with my friends. Let's see who else we got here. KC has contacted Miami for a possible Tyreek Hill trade. If that were to go down, what is he worth now? A third at most?
That'd
Fourth?
Be classic KC. Yeah. I mean, that'd be just classic KC, right? Be able to get him
I don't think
back.
they're worried about the draft capital as much as the salary cap, right?
Yeah. But if you're KC, I could definitely see them making a move. I have no idea. I haven't heard that, so I don't know if that's 100% what is being talked about. But I mean, that's a great fit for KC again, and it's going to make Tyreek probably pretty happy. KC kind of realizes they're in the midst of a dynasty here, right? It's like you want to keep competing, and their receiver room, as we'll talk about later, is pretty banged up too. So that'd be interesting. And
I think maybe if you offered a fourth, you watch that Sunday night football game, and then you call them back and say, third actually sounds about right. Because how are you keeping up with those two juggernauts? Justin in the chat, and of course, Justin will be on live with Andrew tomorrow night. Breaking down the NFL, of course, from a battle royal perspective. He says, guys, and I think he's talking to me, Tyreek Hill wasn't brought anywhere to be a locker room guy. No coach is like, hey, go be like Hill, unless they're talking about speed. Thinking that Mike Robb doesn't even think that Tyreek would even bother going to the hospital. So I think we'll get a full game out of him here on Sunday against the New England Patriots. Let's move ahead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I said that I would come back. You were high on Trevor Lawrence. What did you take away from that? Because our argument in the Fanspeak chat, and it's been mainly me and Andrew, and I haven't really been arguing that much because we're just kind of agreeing to disagree. Actually, Tyler's on my side for this one. It's crazy. We're actually on the same side, Tyler and I. This is ETN's backfield. From a fantasy perspective, he's clearly established it. He's your starter. If you're playing managed league, Tootin's a stash right now. And I think you should be, if you're playing daily fantasy, treating Etienne not like a bell cow, but at least a 70% type of guy. Talk to me about what you saw from Jacksonville and how much do we temper that with the fact that it was against the lowly Carolina Panthers?
Yeah. So, if I'm going to toot my own horn on the Justin Herbert and the Jordan Love, I got to eat a little bit of crow, man. I know it's only 1 week, but Trevor Lawrence looks bad, dude. Like at some point, I'm just going to have to just put my hands up and say I was just wrong. You can't add Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas and get Liam Cohen. And Brian Thomas had the lowest catchable target rate among like all wide receivers. Like out of his 7 targets, I think 3 of them were actually catchable. I just don't get it. Hopefully this next week against Cincinnati, where it seems like they're probably likely to get pushed a little bit more than what Carolina was able to do. But I mean, even early on in that game, Trevor Lawrence just looked rough. I'm not going to completely be out on it yet. I need to see a few more games. I'm a big believer in Liam Cohen. I still think they can get this offense kind of going the way it should. I was expecting a better performance last week. He's not very accurate with the football, man. Like he just kind of makes some bad decisions too. And the interception he had was a really great catch by the DB. So I'm not going to hang my hat too much on that, but Trevor Lawrence simply has to be better for this team to take the next step. And Liam Cohen kind of called him out during his press conference, right? So I'm hopeful that, Trevor Lawrence is going to turn around. I would not say optimistic. I just have to see it. It's definitely something that I was probably wrong about. But the Jaguars team overall, like I still think Travis Hunter is probably going to continue to be force-fed. He's clearly playing that Chris Godwin role in the slot. Obviously, his snaps might fluctuate a little bit if he's playing more defense. And who knows against this Bengals team with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Maybe he's playing more on the defensive side of the ball this week. But they have the weapons there. And he was also, I think, like the quarterback that was under pressure the least this week too. So it's like there's just really no excuse that I can come up with for Trevor Lawrence. He just might not be good. So let's see how it goes this week. It should be a game where he's at least pushed. So from a fantasy perspective, I don't hate it, but that's my take on Jacksonville. Not optimistic, just
I have some Panthers questions for you too, but we'll push those back. Tyler, why don't I come to you? And of course, Jamie, in your breakdown, you can discuss this game as well. But you're our resident AFC North guy, and we knew not to lay it with Cincinnati there. We almost should have known to take it with Cleveland because that defense looks real good. We thought that maybe with Burrow and these guys playing in preseason, it'd be different this year, but it felt like the same old slow Cincinnati start, except they got the win, which is all that really matters in the end, because if they're 4-0 and they have great offensive performances, 2 weeks in a row going into those third and fourth games, we're not going to care that they barely squeaked this one out. So, I mean, technically mission accomplished, but definitely from a fantasy perspective and also from a fan's perspective, I wonder if there's concerns there with this Bengals organization. Your thoughts here, Tyler? Jaguars, Bengals, just take it away, whatever you want. Etienne, you got the whole gamut, whatever you want to break down.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably more than likely Etienne's backfield unless they just go away from it. I know it was Carolina's defense, which is absolutely horrific against the run, but the dude absolutely crushed them through the run game. I'm not going to give Trevor Lawrence a whole bunch of shit for this game just because Jamie said there's no excuses you can make for him. Well, the game being delayed right halfway through the second quarter as they were just starting to get going,
that's
probably didn't help him much. Then you come out for 8 minutes, go back to halftime, and sit back down, and then you got to come back out again. Neither team was in a good spot for that one. And we even seen the opening Thursday night. Would you see 40-some points in the first half? We went to a weather delay, and then the only thing we've seen the rest of the game is a field goal. So it just messes up the whole flow of the game. But as for this game coming this week, I think it's a tough spot to bet either side because, I don't think Jacksonville was as bad as they played. I don't think Lawrence was as bad as he looked, and I think they bounced back. The problem is Cincinnati was playing Myles Garrett in this Cleveland defense that always gives him problems. They got pressure on him, and they kept the game close. I don't think Cincinnati won this game as much as the Browns lost it, missing that field goal late. So they got gifted a win. Can Josh Allen and these guys get to Burrow like Myles Garrett was? If they can, I think that they are very live. I'm going to lean the plus 3.5 on the Jags, but I don't think I'm going to end up pulling the trigger there.
Yeah. You know what? You made some good points. I'm back on board on the Trevor Lawrence train. I am went from hopeful to now optimistic. You made some good points. I honestly, but you're totally right. They did they literally scored that touchdown. Trevor Lawrence just threw a touchdown pass, and I think literally there wasn't even a play that happened before the delay happened. So you're right.
It's just a bad spot. It just throws a kink in everything. Throws a wrench right into everything.
Yeah.
So
100%. No, that's a good call.
Let me be an old man and be like, I mean, seriously, like these lightning delays.
No, I totally agree because
am I the only one that's just like, what are we doing?
I told my buddy
people didn't even bother leaving the stadium. They're like, leave. Like, people were just sitting there on their phones.
Yeah, I told my buddy this. I was like, even when we were kids, I swear there was never a game that went through like a lightning delay or anything.
And college is even worse. Don't even get me
ago.
started on college. Yeah. I mean, like they can't even have a cloud in the sky nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When I come to breaking down this game, boy, I'm almost the opposite here. Oh, dang it. I hit my camera. Excuse me for that. I almost want to lay it with Cincinnati. I don't know if and I guess this would support Andrew's argument, right? But how much did beating the Panthers really help? And I think this is going to be a referendum on the Jaguars defense. I think the Browns defense is really good. I mean, it's always been pretty good, and they're kind of hamstringing themselves by refusing to start their best quarterback. I mean, don't get me started on that. But I don't know if I necessarily trust Jacksonville here. I guess we're getting the same issue where that hook and, with these, I mean, we saw so many games land on 2, like the Steelers, right? 34-32. That's not crazy like it used to be. So, I mean, I haven't played Cincinnati yet. If I'm doing the pick 'em pool, I think I might take the Bengals here for an offensive explosion. Total 49, Tyler. Can I interest you in an over here?
I would lean over, but I don't know if you heard my breakdown for this game.
I did. I heard it all.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm going to just end up staying away from this game altogether.
Okay.
Just because.
Yeah, and I think it's fine as a stay away too.
Yeah, I think there's still a big question mark on Jacksonville because I think you could just throw that game out the window for both sides. I don't think Carolina is as bad as they looked either. So
yeah,
and I'm not sure how good Jacksonville is going to look. So that's why I wouldn't take the points or lay it. Because if Josh Allen, those guys can get pressure on Burrow like Garrett was, I mean, you're going to be in the same spot with a better quarterback on the other side with better weapons. They're probably going to lose.
And here's the thing. I think this game you guys are going to target on the prop party. So I don't even know if we're going to be ignoring it on our red zone. We might just not have a play on the side of the total. Yeah. And I think this is for those of you who came over and you're only doing daily fantasy and you're kind of new to the betting streets. That's one of the things we always preach, You don't need to bet every game. And, I felt that way about the Bills game on Sunday night. And we'll talk about that next, actually, Tyler, because our next game is going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. And boy, I'm so happy. Do you remember I said this is a good game to be a fan? Oh, man, I didn't need all that stress in my life. And you know what the worst part is, Tyler? At the end of the day, I wouldn't have even covered with my pick if I laid it. At one point, it was 1.5, I think, going there towards the end. I don't even know if Buffalo covered or you push it depending on when you got into the market. Maybe you just take the money line and you're happy. But what are your takeaways from that game? I've heard some people arguing that, Baltimore is actually the better team and Buffalo is just lucky. But wasn't that kind of my breakdown? Because you gave me all these reasons and I said, you're right, Baltimore's a better team. I just think Buffalo wins. And I didn't even really have a good reason. And then watching the game, it kind of felt the same way. Like me trying to tell you right now how Buffalo won that game. It's just like Josh Allen magic, right? Like the guy, like the second he gets to go into that.
Was it Josh Allen magic or was it one of those typical Baltimore Ravens collapses we've seen over the last couple of years where they just randomly blow a game? Like last year when Jameis was playing quarterback for Cleveland and they came back and won a game against Baltimore. No one's seen that one coming. They looked like the juggernauts of the NFL. And Derrick Henry put the ball on the ground and the Bills won it. It's just one of those things. Baltimore loses games every year where you look back and go, how the hell did they lose that game? So I think they got it out of the way week 1. This might not be the worst thing. But what a game to watch. I mean, I think both teams are really good. I do think Baltimore's the better team. I mean, Zay Flowers looked like an elite receiver. Didn't even really have to use Bateman or Andrews. Didn't even really have to throw the ball to anyone else because Zay Flowers was running down one sideline, and then Derrick Henry would break a big run for a touchdown. So they're just going to be a hard team to deal with all year. Unless they're
here's the other thing, and maybe I'm taking
chances like they did with a fumble, they're going to be very tough to beat.
And maybe I'm taking too much away from this game and my Washington pick that we already discussed earlier. If you weren't, here, you can rewind and see it. But in this new NFL, I don't even think these defenses are that bad. I just think these offenses are that good. Jamie, eventually we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. But what did you think of that Sunday night spectacle, right? Game of the year in week 1.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was tough because I was on the Baltimore side, which was a brutal loss, but it's an awesome game. I mean, 2 of the best teams probably in the NFL, but definitely the AFC. Yeah. It was tough to see my old pal Jair Alexander just get absolutely burnt on those last 2 critical plays. that guy just doesn't have it anymore. I'm not sold on the Baltimore defense, honestly. I mean, Buffalo defense either. I mean, they're just two really good teams. I think Tyler was pretty much spot on. Like, it was just a classic collapse for Baltimore. Lamar played great. Josh Allen played great. Zay Flowers was awesome. And Derrick Henry was awesome too. Obviously a critical fumble. I just don't think you can count on that happening too much. I still think Baltimore is probably would be my pick to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. But I would not be I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, right. I mean, as
Buffalo,
far as who wins the Super Bowl, that game really didn't tell us anything.
No,
it's not like these teams will probably meet in the playoffs. We'll probably all do a show together, and it's not like I'm going to be like, I'm taking Buffalo because of week 1, right? I mean, that was just a great football game between two really equal teams, and each time I think they take the field. I don't know, man. As a professional gambler, when I'm talking to other guys, I'm going to say, what's your edge? What's your edge in this game? Because this feels as close to just heading down to the casino and rolling the dice or spinning the roulette wheel as you can get when these two teams take the field, because to me, they're evenly matched, and it's going to come down to some random ass thing. Because who would have thought, like when we were doing the preview, well, I think Derrick Henry's going to fumble, right? We would have said, doing a preview, we would have said if Baltimore gets up by 15, now they have Derrick Henry, they close this off, right? He's their Dennis Eckersley. I mean, who's the new closer? Mariano Siriano, whoever the guy was on the Yankees. It's been a while. You understand my point. Mariano Rivera, right? Yeah. That's what we thought Derrick Henry was going to be. And it's just weird. It's like when Eckersley gave up that home run ball to Kirk Gibson. Does anyone remember that? I think I'm the only one. All right. Mike Rob talking about my early bedtime. That's how I look so good at 50 years old. That's right, guys. Prioritize your sleep. Get that training in. Take your vitamins. Let's do it. Mike Rob also says the Ravens lose because they go to prevent offense and defense, and their players they totally just put it on ice. And by the time it's go time, they're out of the flow. To be fair, 31 NFL teams do that. And then there's the guy that did cover 0 against the Raiders. Do you remember that? Rather than play the prevent, we all see why they don't just all out blitz. Yes, I am, Mike Rob. It's called having taste. It's called having class. Getting a little bit of intellectual here. I want to teach you young kids something, Mike Rob. Want to teach you young kids something. The Baltimore Ravens are minus 11, Jamie. Usually I just completely stay away from these. I love taking points here, but you know what's weird? I was talking with my buddy about this, and this is like an old man game theory thing. I don't like taking the highest amount of points on the board. Like if you don't tell me any of the team names, just with the idea that Vegas or the bookmakers are telling you this is the most lopsided game, right? So this, I think I'd rather have, like the game that's like +8 or the +6.5 here than the +11 on a board like this. But that's not really a good breakdown. It's kind of just some weird old superstition. What do you think, man? Can the Browns keep this one in 11? I mean, the only thing I would say to take the Browns is it's a division game. And I thought their defense looked fine last week. I don't know. I mean, Ravens have a better offense than Cincinnati, but is it that much better? Browns could just be shutting everybody down. If I have to play it, I'm taking the 11. I'm just worried that it's such a big number. What do you think, Jamie? Did everyone freeze? I think he froze. Tyler, start with this game.
He froze, but I'm still here. I like the Baltimore side. I don't think I'll lay it. I think I'll be on this over 28.5 on their team total, though. I think that
really you're not a believer in the Browns defense after shutting down like everyone's top picks. I remember Spunky. He's not in here. Why doesn't Spunky hang out with me?
I think me, you, and the frozen picture of Jamie could get pressure on Joe Burrow. That's how bad that offensive line is.
Okay.
Did you watch that game?
Point too. I mean, no. I talk about this all the time where there's like fantasy teams, right? No, and I almost think the Dolphins are one of those. They have all these great skill position players, but then they can't block. So, like, what does it matter?
There was a sequence in that game against Cleveland last week against Cincinnati where Myles Garrett pushed the same lineman backwards 3 times into Burrow. Yeah. Like, that's not – I don't think Baltimore is going to let that happen. Like, they play this team a lot better than the Cincinnati does. Like, the Browns are almost that pain in the ass little brother to Cincinnati. They always give them problems, and they beat them half the time. So, and Baltimore usually beats up on the Browns. Like, let's look at some of these recent scores. 35-10 was the most recent score. Mm-hmm. The Browns stole that game that we talked about when Jameis Winston was starting 29-24. We had a 28-3 win for Baltimore. So, like, there's big wins in here for Baltimore. They pull margin on this team. Wouldn't surprise me if they did it here, but
So you're basically saying if I play the Browns, just take the plus 652 on the money line because they're either going to win or get stomped.
you're taking the plus 650 and you're hoping Flacco goes, hey, I'm pulling one last one in my old home stadium.
You know what? And if you want to do that, don't you wish that the Ravens were coming off the win? That last 4 minutes.
I would much rather. Instead of trying to play the side of a total here, play some Flacco 300 passing yards. He'll probably be throwing most of the game. Play some Tillman. Play some Harold Fannin, and just play it that way.
Yeah, what's up with Harold Fannin? We loved him.
Play it through the
we loved him,
rushed on
Tyler,
Sunday.
and then he got drafted to the Browns in our drafts that we did before the draft. Fannin. Then we went to the Browns and forgot he existed.
He crushed.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Then he turns out to be Tyler Warren did well too as well. So all right, let's keep it going. And when we get Jamie back, hopefully we'll get him back soon. We'll just have him give picks for all these games because we're already 56 minutes in because we are combining the reactions to week 1. But we hope you're enjoying it here on the Fanspeak Network. The New York Giants are +6. And they're taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys are -6. Tyler, we didn't talk about the Thursday night opener yet. I mean, those delays are killing me, man. I'm not happy with the delays. What did you take away from that game, man? Do we downgrade the Eagles or are the Cowboys that good? Talk to me.
I think the Cowboys are a little better than we expected. That trade was going to have one of two effects on that team, and it was just which one's it going to do? Is it going to be like when Geno left or when Geno became Seattle's quarterback after Russ left, and they just kind of said, well, you guys are all throwing us in the trash. We're going to still win some games. Made a wild card run. They trade Michael Parsons. All they've heard for a couple weeks is Arch Manning this, Arch Manning that. I think Dallas might be able to put up some points. And now they get a gifted matchup against the Giants, who are going to run Russ out there again. And Russ looked terrible. So I think Dallas names their score here. I think they cover the 5.5. I think they win this game easily. I'd love for them just to give me the extra half a point here at 6, so I can just tease them with the first game we talked about with the Patriots.
I have 6 offshore.
That's a teaser I'd love to do. Is Dallas down to a pick and the Patriots up to 7.5? That feels like a smash spot.
Yeah. Did you see? Because I got a victory lap something here on this show. Did you see why Tomlin got rid of Pickens? Did you see the video going around Twitter/X of Pickens giving up on a bunch of blocks?
I mean, he's always done that.
I know that sucks. That's why I don't know. I just wonder. This game is almost like must win for Dallas.
It's just going to become like
because that locker room can implode.
No, it can. Here's my biggest thing about
Pickens. Two of the biggest divas.
You can never pay him wide receiver 1 money because of how big of a head case he is. But once you brought DK to town and gave him the money, I would have kept him as long as I could, unless he was becoming that big of a cancer in the locker room, just to have him as wide receiver 2. Because even though they won that game against the Jets, you've seen them have a lack of offense outside of DK and these guys. Like Calvin Austin was there, but he made the one big catch outside that.
They scored 34 points.
Yeah, but if you had Pickens across from DK, that would have been. I don't think that game's close.
You don't want him in your locker room. He's not doing ayahuasca.
I would have took him.
I think they got rid of him at the right time.
They probably did, but I would have ran him out the rest of the year or until he became like disgruntled and became.
Because, like you said, they don't got a shot this year, anyways.
No, but if you kept him and Aaron Rodgers looked like prime Aaron Rodgers with those two, you had a shot.
All right. We're going to have Jamie back here real soon. If I had to take it, I'd take the points. I just don't know. Okay, well, he's not back on. We'll have him just run down all these games. Any prop? I don't even have a lot of props up yet. You guys can take care of that on the prop party because we're already an hour in. Bro, one I got completely wrong was the Texans and the Rams. Well, hold on. I think Jamie's here, and then we'll set this up. All right, buddy. We're going to go quick here. Pick on the Ravens and the Browns, and then a pick on the Cowboys and the Giants.
Yeah, so quickly, I heard some of that stuff. My laptop died. I thought it was plugged in, but apparently it wasn't. So I'm on my phone. So hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah, we're good.
But so I would lean the Browns side. I'm going to stay away personally. I think the Browns have a pretty good defense. I think they can hang in there, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Ravens put up 40, and I'm not sure the Browns could compete. So I just stay away from me. What was the other game?
Giants Cowboys. We already talked about how bad the Giants were. Jamie, give me your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, they kept it close against the Eagles, but I still don't know if I believe in this team yet. And I was telling Tyler, I think it's a must win because I think with the personalities in that locker room, things can implode if they got off to a really slow start.
Yeah, I lean the Cowboys side. I obviously do not like their defense, but I think their offense is pretty good. I thought Dak looked pretty solid last game. I think they got to get Pickens a little bit more involved. He's still kind of running this, having the same role like he did in Pittsburgh, right? Just a guy that's going to run poster fades, and you got to make big plays off of like 5 or 6 targets. But I think CD's going to bounce back a little bit too. I know he had some bad drops in that game, but I like the offense for Dallas, so I would lean Dallas.
All right. Then let me lament here. I mean, I really felt like it was one, and it started out okay. Man, I really thought I was talking up Houston so much during preseason. And one of the things I said is they fixed their offensive line. They're not going to get so much pressure up the middle. They're going to be able to run the ball in the middle of the field. Well, guess what? Los Angeles was in the backfield all freaking day. It had different people, and it looked exactly the same. Tyler, start with you because I'm not sure what's going on with Jamie's phone. Oh, he switched. But Tyler, what happened there in that Rams Texans game? Am I going to be okay? Are the Texans okay? Are the Rams just that good? Because that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Rams, and I think after the Michael Parsons trade, of course, the Green Bay's number 2. But before that, I thought the Rams were the second best team in the NFC. Now I just have them at 3. And a part of that also was because we didn't know what Stafford was going to look like with the back injury and all that going on. But if he's going to be on the field, those are the 3 best teams in the NFC by, I think, a pretty clear margin with Philly, the Rams, and Green Bay. So the Rams are going to be legit. Puka's going to be a problem with Devontae across from him, and Devontae's going to demand a lot of targets too. It's just going to open up this offense even more. So now they get to play the Titans. Yeah, the Titans kept it close with Denver. Bo Nix looks like he might be coming back down to earth a little bit because he did overexceed expectations a lot last year. And some of these quarterbacks do that, and they just have to come back down to earth. So I think that the Rams put it on Tennessee, and they probably cover that 5.5.
Jamie, I was lamenting the Texans. I don't know how much you heard of me. But are the Rams just that good? And maybe, my Texans love is going to end up being okay at the end of the season.
I'm not sure. I'm big on the Rams too. So Rams is another plus 2,400 ticket that I got before the season. I took them and also took San Francisco. 49ers one I'm a little bit more nervous about now than I was when the season started, but I like the Rams. I mean, we talked about in our rankings. I mean, Stafford is a top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFL. You got Puka, you got Devontae. I think their defense is solid. I love Jared Verse. So I think they're the real deal. So I'm big on the Rams.
All right. So I shouldn't be worried about all my Texan shares already because I haven't had them in one to win see it over 20-1.
Okay.
All right. The Titans. I actually think, first of all, I don't think it's Cam Ward's first game, and I think Denver's defense is really good. So I'm not going to say anything really bad about that Cam Ward performance. But boy, that's a tough task because I think this Rams defense can be top 5 as well. And if they were able to do that to CJ in his 3rd year, it could be tough sledding for Cam Ward this week.
But
I do think the Tennessee defense is really good
on the field other than that elite defensive unit he has right now, they'd have lost that game.
I mean, that's fair. Most NFL teams can score more than 12 points. So, yeah.
Yeah, like that defense
I would agree with you there.
Defense saved his ass that game. He would have lost that game for them if his defense
you can say that about Brady for his first 10 years.
But I don't think Brady was doing it against what people were penciling in as what we were going to be a bottom 3 team week 1.
But nobody thought this defense was bad. We just don't think the offense has any juice. I mean, other than Calvin Ridley, who's Cam Ward throwing to?
Chig.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Take me back to best ball summer 2023 when we thought.
What
Chig
about our
was gonna
guy
be good.
Alec
No.
Amon spread?
I was gonna say I like that rookie quite a bit, to be honest.
No, he'll be fine too. But it's his very first start on the road against arguably the best defense in the league. I'm not ready to downgrade Tennessee. They were also pretty good covering spreads at home this year. I think I might go opposite of Tyler here and take the points if I play it, but I'm fine staying away. I don't know if I want to lay 5.5 with the Rams on the road. This is going to be an excellent referendum, I think, on both teams. Total's only 41.5, though. Do you think that Tennessee can do something to push this game over, Tyler, or is this game scream under? The last game was at 32.
I'd lean towards the over. That seems really low. We got some Packers news that just came out. I just
saw that.
Yeah, they extended Christian Watson for another $13 million.
Yeah, 1 year.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know why, but
I think ideally this team would prefer to have Romeo gone. Yeah, have Romeo probably going to be gone here soon, and then Christian and Golden ideally will be the two perimeter guys, like in an ideal world. Yeah.
Romeo's going to be one of those guys that 20 years from now, you and your buddies are going to be drinking like, do you remember him? He's going to kind of disappear into obscurity after he leaves Green Bay.
He's kind of just a guy, but, he's not terrible, right? But he's definitely not.
I'm just saying you take him off. You take him off in the lead offense with a great coach. Let's see what he really does. Like, let's throw him on
Seattle. Play him on the Titans.
Seattle
or Titans, and let's see.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, I'm leaning towards taking the points. I think I'm going to talk myself into it by the end of the week. Am I stupid for fading the Rams?
I'm going to say you're stupid.
Game.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early on in the season, so these are still like week 1, week 2.
24-20 that crazy?
No, I don't think so at all. Like I said, if you have strong convictions in week 1 and week 2, I just roll with it, right? This is the time of the year where we just have very limited amount of data. I kind of like the under here. And you said it's 41.5.
Okay. Yeah.
It opened at 44.5. So I did get it at 42.5, which is not
lowest
ideal
total
either.
on the board right now.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'm like I said, I don't think you're stupid. If that's what you like, then
Did you say you played it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I played the under. I got a 42.5.
Okay, but you're not playing a side?
No, I'm not playing a side. I would stay away. I would lean the Rams, but
okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We already talked about that exciting game with the Buffalo Bills. Tyler, we got to speed it up a little bit. So be quick, but what did you see with that New York Jets game? They're going to catch 6 at home. I don't know what to do with this one.
I kind of like the Jets
take the points, but really?
Yeah, I kind of like
that's what my instincts say too.
Now just think about the way this played out in week 1. This slight overreaction to everything we just seen, but they pushed a defense around that was been top 5 for how many years? That offensive line pushed them out of the way. They couldn't stop. If they would have just kept running the ball, they'd have probably won that game with Fields, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen. And Buffalo couldn't stop a nosebleed coming out of the running back spot. Mind you, it was Derrick Henry, but they've always had problems against teams that run the ball. If the Jets can keep this game close, which I think they can, I think that their run game and their O-line could steal them this game. So I think I'm going to be on the +7 with the Jets here. Also, it's one of those spots where Buffalo's coming off a roller coaster win, stealing that game late. They probably come out slow, and the Jets probably do get a lead. So I like this spot. And you get a mobile quarterback, which they just dealt with, and we've seen Lamar extend drives. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup back-to-back weeks against mobile quarterbacks for Buffalo.
All right. I'm kind of liking that breakdown. What did you think, Jamie? Where are you going on this game?
Yeah, it's a pass for me, but I like the thesis there. I don't think it's a bad look at all, man. They look good, right? Like, I think everyone thinks that he's just dust, but he looked pretty good, and is another mobile quarterback. I don't hate that look at all. For me, I'm going to pass on it. I'm going to stay away, but
Bro, how do those training camp videos come out of Justin Fields just missing the easiest throws, and then he was like super accurate?
Yeah,
he was like 100%. Super accurate.
Yeah,
way more accurate than the next quarterback I want to talk about, Caleb Williams. So I listened to Dave Wanstead today. He was on a local Chicago radio station, and he brought a couple things up in my mind about Caleb Williams that really stood out last night, and I kind of agreed watching, but hearing a smart, a real football guy say it really made me think I was right. The guy's got less accurate since he's been at USC. And when does accuracy get worse? And where it really comes up is not in your completion percentage, it's in your yards after catch. He's not giving these guys any opportunities. And we can all talk about the accuracy. I mean, it doesn't take I didn't need to coach it at the Pittsburgh Panthers to see he missed a wide open DJ Moore. And that's like almost a morale killer, right? The line blocks. Ben Johnson calls up the perfect play. DJ Moore's got yards of separation, and you sail that easy throw. I messaged you last night, Jamie. I said, these Bears might never be good. They had a generational quarterback, and I don't even want it. I almost wonder, I tell my buddy, boy, if you went to like a Shanahan or a McVay or a LaFleur or an O'Connell, would Caleb would we be talking about him, the same way we talk about Jaden Daniels? Is he just in the wrong organization to play quarterback? My take, I thought that loss was so discouraging, just the way that they lost. And the other thing that Wanstead said that I completely agree with is DeAndre Swift's a great back at the beginning of the game when you're trying to get the lead. He's not, we talk about the closers earlier, Mike Robb, we talk about being a closer. He's not a freaking closer. He can't give me 2 yards up the middle when everybody knows the run's coming. He's not that kind of back. Wanstead was really upset that the Bears didn't address a short yardage or just the bruising type back and, use Swift for the home run here. Maybe they thought Roshan Johnson would be that, but as the Bears radio like to say, he never even plays. So they definitely failed to address that. Ben Johnson's debut. I love to overreact, and I'm ready to just completely write the Bears off. Talk to me, Jamie. Is this a proper reaction or an overreaction?
Oh, it's a proper reaction. Come on, man. It's the Bears. You could tell he's missing his David Montgomery. You know what I mean? Like that guy that is just going to be able to get you 2 or 3 tough yards, that you need. It's a 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2. Swift's not that guy. I also think Ben Johnson's the guy. The thing that made Jared Goff so good was Jared Goff would run Ben Johnson's offense. He wouldn't do a bunch of these unscripted plays. And that's kind of that's his game. That was his game in college too, right? Like a lot of these unscripted type of plays. He's an athlete. He can move. And I just don't think that settles well with Ben Johnson. And I think that killed him. And you're right. He had missed multiple big throws late in that game. So that was a devastating loss for the Bears, man. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're a Bears fan, you started off high. Again, they were the offseason champs for like 4 straight years, right? So, and then the first 3 quarters, they look pretty good. And then they see that meltdown in the 4th quarter. And then it's just like, are we back to being the same old Bears? And, new coach, new players, same old team. You know what I mean? Like this is the Bears in the nutshell. So I would be pretty discouraged if I was a Bears fan. Letting JJ McCarthy and the Vikings come back like that in the 4th quarter was rough to see. But I'm not sold on Caleb yet. I think he's an athletic freak, right? Like he's mobile. He has a cannon of an arm, but he struggles to make some of
Will Levis.
Exactly, right? Like so is Jamarcus Russell. Like he just struggles to make the right throws in the right moment. So I would be a little concerned if I was the Bears.
Tyler, I guess the only thing, if we were to just go ahead and counter argument that is, hey, if anyone's going to make it work, it's this guy, Ben Johnson, and maybe they can address some of those issues. But boy, at home, big lead, tough loss. Now the Bears are catching 5.5 against the Lions. This was like 3.5 on the look ahead. I think this is all a downgrade of the Bears. Nobody watched that game and upgraded the Lions, right? Talk to me about what you saw last night, what we're going to do in this game with the Lions leading 5.5 at home.
Yeah, does it work? Does this matchup this week make us think they took the foot off the gas once they thought the game was over? Maybe to hide some plays so when Ben Johnson gets his revenge spot,
I just don't think they can run the clock out. I mean,
I don't think they could run the ball either, but it's almost like they abandoned what was working just because they thought the game was over and they were playing prevent offense. Similar to what Baltimore did with Buffalo. Then Minnesota struck one play, scored, and they were like, oh shit, we should probably do something, and they couldn't. So it's a tough spot. I'm not throwing the Bears under the bus yet, just because they had the game. They had the full game plan. You just stack the box and just make a problem of it. And they stopped, and they just kept trying to run the ball.
I don't think that works this week against Detroit, though, do you?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a completely different Chicago team on that field.
Well, I think we're seeing a completely different Detroit team as well. I think
Well,
Detroit's going to look way better at home. That's one of my
yeah,
things I
but
said last week. I wanted to fade them outdoors and then hammer them the second they got indoors. And now this 5.5 is scaring me.
yeah, but the Chicago was able to get pressure on McCarthy, and I know Minnesota was missing a lineman, but Detroit's pretty much in the same boat because I'm going to say they're missing a lineman all year without Ragnow.
We got to hope that improves, right? I mean, there's so much tape.
Until it shows it to me, I think Sweat and them guys are going to be all over Goff.
And also, I mean, we've already talked about how we consider Green Bay to be in the top 5. I don't know if we consider Detroit to be in the top 5 anymore. Doesn't this going to be like lowering the difficulty level on Madden?
And the other thing was Chicago was missing their 2 best secondary players in that game, and they still managed to get a pick 6. If they get pressure on Goff and Jalen Johnson's back on the field, Bears are live.
All right. Well, you're keeping me off that one. That's fine. I don't like playing favorites this early in the year. I like favorites towards the end of the year when some of these teams start giving up. Tyler, we didn't talk about the Seahawks and the Niners yet. The Seahawks are heading to Pittsburgh, taking on your Steelers. Real quick, what did you see in that game, man? I was so thinking that I was going to be able to victory lap this thing in both those games. I was going to say, hey, see, JJ can't do what Darnold does, right? And I thought Darnold was going to be able to get the victory there against the Niners. And I was going to be able to say, hey, look at that. But neither of those things happened. The Niners continue to have more injuries. Kittle goes down. Jennings goes down. What's going on there in San Francisco? Talk to me. Pardon?
Purdy's probably not playing this week either.
What's that line then?
Probably not up.
Oh, it went from 7 to 4. Yeah, you're right. It went from 7 to 4. All right, but Seahawks, Steelers, talk to me about what you saw in the Seahawks game. And do you think, man, it's the same thing, dude. It's Tomlin as a favorite. He's probably going to win by 2 again.
It's Tomlin as a favorite, but it's the Seahawks and it's Sam Darnold behind a bad offensive line. And KOC is there to call plays. Yeah, he's probably going to stare down JSN, and JSN's going to put up a ton of yards. But JSN had over 100 receiving yards in that game spread. And Sam Darnold only threw for 150. Teams are going to figure out real fast that there's one weapon he's throwing to. And he's going to instantly throw all the interceptions that he used to throw. It's over. They can't run the ball. Kenny Walker's, I don't even know where he's at. Throw him in the trash. He's useless. Charbonnet was already taking carries. Outsnapped them in game 1. That offense is going to be bad. And I think the Steelers defense bounces back against a bad O-line. I've been talking up the Jets O-line. They were able to push TJ Watt and these guys around. I don't think Seattle's going to have that same success. I think Darnold's going to be in trouble most of this game, and that they are just going to put it on this team. Rodgers is going to beat up on Seattle and get that win. So, and you get a DK Metcalf revenge spot. So I'll be on his props and his touchdown.
I didn't think about that. Jamie, your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks overall and their matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend?
I love the Steelers spot. I agree with Tyler. So, I mean, the Seahawks have a good defense, but eventually when your offense can't create explosive plays, it's going to be tough to beat teams and defenses like Pittsburgh. They just don't have a guy that stretches the field. Like Cooper Kupp is completely washed. I like the rookie Torrey Horton. But until we see him kind of actually be able to, stretch the field for these guys and make an impact, I worry about the Seahawks. If you have JSN in like fantasy, you're pretty happy, especially if it's full PPR, because the guy's going to get 13 to 14 targets almost every single game, but they're just going to be short intermediate targets. I worry about this team, like I said, being able to create explosive plays. Eventually that's going to catch up to them. Like I said, I do like their defense. I think they have a solid defense, but I still like the Steelers side here. So yeah, give me the Steelers 2.5.
Oh, you have 2.5? I have 3.
I see 2.5. I'll be on the Warriors.
Yeah, 2.5 on FanDuel, at least right now.
All right. Well, let's hope the offshore market moves that way. Well, I don't even know if I want to play that game. Tyler, that's a tough one for me. Me championing Sam Darnold and me championing Mike Tomlin, dude. My two favorites or my two favorite non-Raider teams are facing off. We just talked about how the Niners got the win against the Seahawks, but it was at a cost, and they're limping into this game. The backup is Mac Jones. Mac Jones season. Tyler, what do you think? Are you excited?
It's the guy they originally wanted to draft years ago before they were bullied
Mac
by
versus the
social
Rat.
media to draft Trey Lance.
Yeah. The
So,
Mac
I mean,
versus the Rat. How do we approach it?
the Mac versus the Rat. I'll probably be on San Francisco. I mean, the Saints just look so bad. Maybe some Jawan Johnson.
Did they though?
I mean,
It
the
was
Cardinals.
20-13. They had
Yeah,
a shot to win it.
I talked about it on this show last week. I talked about it on the show on Friday. I talked about it on Thursday with Holden. So that game was going to go one of two ways. Like either A, the Cardinals probably just handled business, or B, the Saints were going to win it outright, and the Cardinals just pretty much handled business. Like at any moment in that game, did you think the
Pretty
Cardinals were going to
close,
lose?
dude. The Rat put it right in there, and Johnson just can't come down with it.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I think the Niners will just beat up on them. CMC will have a big game. They'll be able to use these other guys. Pearsall will be big in this game again, like he was in the first game.
Oh, Pearsall's going to be like 75% owned in the DK slate, right? I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. Jamie, your thoughts there on the Niners and the Saints, man? I guess I was a little more impressed. Like, we didn't really talk about the Saints and the Cardinals, but who cares about that game? But the Saints did keep it close. The Rat looked all right.
Yeah.
Cardinals just suck. I don't know.
No, I don't think the Cardinals suck. I like Kellen Moore. I think he's a decent head coach. I mean, I think he's gonna be able to move the offense, get the best out of Rattler for sure. But I like the 49ers side here, even if Mac Jones starts, to be honest. So give me the 4.5 for San Francisco. I think their defense is going to cause big issues for the Saints offensive line. So I like them a lot. Unfortunate, Jennings, I haven't seen. Is he playing? It sounds like he might be questionable for that game at least. Kittle hurt is not great. So it's Slick Rick season, man, Ricky Pearsall season. So I like the 49ers. Give me the -4.5 for them.
All right. Let's keep it moving. We talked about the Carolina Panthers earlier, and here's the Arizona Cardinals. Feels like the same exact matchup. So the Cardinals are at home. They're -6.5. Totals 44.5. Panthers. So the Cardinals are pretty much laying about the same amount this week here. Only this time it's against the Panthers and not the Saints, and they're at home. Are the Panthers that much better than the Saints? I don't know. I'm not playing this game, however. I can't take the 6.5. I took the points of the Panthers last week, Jamie. How dumb was that? What are your thoughts here? I mean, is this the favorite season here with the Cardinals?
I lean the Cardinals. Bryce Young looked rough, man. He's got to play better. It sucks because I was a little more optimistic about Bryce Young after his last few games last season. Yeah, I thought he was turning things around. I'm a big Dave Canales fan. It was a bad game. He looked really, really bad. So I'm not going to touch it. I do lean the Cardinals. Didn't this open at what, -4.5? I think so. It's up to 6.5. But getting it before that key number of 7, I think is still fine. But it's going to be a pass for me. But there's no chance I would even want any action on the Panthers personally.
Tyler comes back. We might not even break down this game. Let's keep it moving. The Denver Broncos, man, and that vaunted defense now gets a chance to shut down Daniel Jones. I think the fantasy owners that had Jones and Pittman are going to be in for a rude awakening this week. Tyler, real quick, did you want to talk about the Cardinals and the Panthers at all?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Dogs sounded like they were getting into something. They sounded mischievous. So I had to go check. But I'd be on the Cardinals here. It's just the spot where Carolina's rush defense still looks so bad. So Connor touchdown.
Bro, what about Trey Benson actually looking like a real running back?
Yeah, he did some work. He did do some work in that game. So that's a good thing to see. But I mean, they're going to run the ball. They know what they got to do in this matchup, and they're at home where they play better. So I'm on Arizona here.
All right, you're on Arizona. We were talking about the Broncos and the Colts. We'll throw it back to you, Jamie. I'm not sure what to do with this one. Because like I said, Miami's so bad, I don't really know what we learned about the Colts. Would you be surprised if Daniel Jones went back to looking like the 27th best quarterback in the league or wherever we put him on our rankings? I wouldn't. Maybe that Colts defense is real good and Miami's not that bad either, right? So there's a lot of possibilities here. And, of course, we're going to find that out this Sunday, and this is at the 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific slate. Colts catching 1.5 at home. I think, you talked about the Packers-Washington line. I think this has got a chance where we look back and go, boy, how is this not 4 or 5 later if the Broncos continue to ascend? Bo Nix looks better, and the Colts were just taking advantage of a really bad Miami team and aren't that good. Your thoughts here on the Colts-Broncos, Jamie?
Yeah, so this opened up at 3.5. I got +3 for Indianapolis. There's still 2.5. I think I like FanDuel and DraftKings and a few other places too.
I like
So I like,
fading that line move here.
yeah,
If I were you,
I'm
I
on the
might try and
Colts.
middle this.
I'm gonna let it roll. I am on the Colts, but
Okay.
I'm also under the on the under 42.5. I
Okay.
have some concerns about this Denver offense. I think their defense is really solid. So I think that yeah, I like the Colts, man. I like I said, I don't think Nick's is. I don't. I kind of agree with what Tyler said earlier, man. Like I think he might have overperformed last year. He looked a little rough to me, and with the Colts and Daniel Jones, like it could be you. It's definitely in the range of outcomes for Daniel Jones to just all of a sudden revert back. But we've seen this before with other guys like Baker Mayfield and other quarterbacks where they go to a different setting, and I have a lot more respect for a guy like Shane Steichen, in my opinion. I think he's a pretty decent coach. And this is by far the best weapons Daniel Jones has ever played with. Getting Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Jonathan Taylor, I think like with a solid offensive line, I think this is by far his best situation that he has been in. I love Shane Steichen. We also, I'm pretty sure when we did our best ball draft, all three of us, I think we might have. I need to go back and look. But I think we drafted Daniel Jones and some Colts guys too. So let's
Yeah,
hope that
probably. I mean, I
yeah
Daniel Jones in best ball was the value because he was really the only starter left when you if you push your third
late.
quarterback back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was our like third quarterback. But so I like the Colts side. I also like the under. I just think there's a lot of ways for this to play out also in the under. Maybe Daniel Jones is bad. The Broncos defense is elite. Maybe Bo Nix in this offense isn't quite what we kind of anticipated, happening in the second year. So I like the under and I like the Colts side.
My only counter would be I think that the Tennessee defense is better than the Colts defense. What do you think, Tyler?
I think the Colts defense is very underrated.
Mm.
I think that their offense is really good. Also, everything you said about Steichen, I believe is true. I mean, he was in Philly. He made Hurts an MVP contender that year. He was there. If Hurts didn't get hurt that year to end the season, he probably has an MVP under his belt with Steichen as his OC. This is Daniel Jones' best spot, like he said too. This is all he has to do is listen to Steichen. He is a big guy who can put the ball where he needs, and he's mobile. That is perfect for a guy that's going to call the plays for you. And you have a guy like Jonathan Taylor standing behind you. I'm really leaning towards Denver's offense not being as good as we thought either. I mean, Cortland Sutton's good. We loved RJ Harvey, but are we really sure that him and J.K. Dobbins are going to be able to establish a run game? Outside of Sutton, the wide receivers are non-existent. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Colts here. I think the Colts are going to be a little better than we expected. What can we get on them to win the AFC South right now?
Yeah.
Probably plus 350 is my guess. I'm guessing.
I see plus 250, and I don't hate that.
250. That's it. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so we're not the only ones who believe in the Colts. Let's see how bad Miami really is in this game. Will be a referendum, and yeah, all right, fun. Let's see if Bo Nix can bounce back. As much as we like Steichen, Sean Payton's got a couple tricks up his sleeve as well. The game of the week, and it's not Sunday night, Jamie. It's Sunday afternoon. The Philadelphia Eagles rematch the Kansas City Chiefs. So this line's all over the place. The Chiefs are favored again.
I don't see that.
I got -1 offshore.
Okay, I see +1.5 on DraftKings.
And that's what I've been capping it as all week. So this is a late move for me with this Chiefs offshore news. Why do you think that move came in, and how do you approach this game? It's kind of, I was listening to one pod, they said it's a little funny. Chiefs playing on Friday and they're coming in with a technically a rest disadvantage. Also, I do think those international flights are a little tougher than people realize. I'm going to bring Tyler back on, and then I'm going to have you answer that. Go ahead, Jamie. Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch here in week 2. Only this time, Chiefs have home field advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Chiefs receiver core, I mean, they're in a rough spot. When Hollywood Brown is getting 15 plus targets, I think they're in a little bit of trouble there. Their running game is real murky. Pacheco will get 45% of the snaps. They're mixing with Hunt, some Brashard Smith. So Travis Kelce to me looks washed. I think we thought that last year. I think that looks like how it's going to play out again this year. Like, I wouldn't hate anyone if they wanted to back Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid as a slight underdog here. Um, I'm going to stay away just because I am this year lower on Kansas City and a little lower on Philadelphia overall. I just think Philadelphia. I didn't like what I saw from Philadelphia's offense, to be honest with you. I thought they should have had a lot more success, and I think losing a guy like Kellen Moore is pretty important. Kellen Moore was a big reason why I took a future bet on the Eagles last offseason to win the Super Bowl, which is what I thought he was going to be able to do with that offense. So I'm going to pass on this game. I honestly would not fault anyone for doing anything. You can take the Super Bowl champs at -1.5 when we saw them boat race Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl. You could take Patrick Mahomes as a dog. I wouldn't fault you. For me, it's going to be passed. I'm just going to enjoy this game.
Tyler, do you want to know what I wish I had the X-Files music on. Do you think someone on the offshore market knows about a Tyreek Hill trade? Could that have spurred the move? Talk to me about the Eagles and the Chiefs.
I'm taking the Eagles here. I mean, the Chiefs they did not look good on that Thursday night. They let a team that was supposed to be a running offense, they just lit them up through the passing game. And it wasn't like it was Lad McConkey routing them up. Anyone that went down the field was wide open. Hurts and these guys are going to be able to move the ball through the air, and they didn't really have to throw it against Dallas. So I think A.J. Brown's going to bounce back in a big way, put together a huge game against his Kansas City defense. Saquon will be able to run. Jalen Carter isn't going to play again, which could hurt them. But the
No,
Chiefs
he
weren't
is.
able.
I think he
Carter's
is, right?
in there.
He's suspended
Yeah,
again.
from what I heard, they said the suspension counts for last week.
Okay,
He missed,
so
he
I
didn't
didn't catch that part of the suspension.
That was totally NFL, like CBS made the call or whatever station this is on, right?
Yeah.
Like, give us the best game,
Yeah, I didn't see that they counted the suspension.
Yeah.
So he's going to play. That even helps. The
After that Bills Ravens games ended, nobody was thinking about the Eagles and the Cowboys anymore.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Eagles. I think they take care of business. I think it's going to be hard to bet Chiefs this year.
I'm going back to when these two top teams face off. You don't need to bet every game.
Not a good spot to be in.
You don't need to bet every game. If I was, I guess I would pick the Chiefs. I don't know. I don't even have a good reason. Let's just move on. The Atlanta Falcons are +4. Oh, Tyler, we didn't talk about that game. How bad was that pick by me? Both my picks sucked there. Drake London didn't do. I mean, he had an okay game, but it wasn't how I touted it to be. Winfield clamped him. Winfield is good.
Yeah.
I think Drake London's, well, obviously he got injured, but wow, Winfield's excellent. And Tampa Bay got that win. Koo finally missed a field goal. That was terrible. Now they're taking on your darling, JJ McCarthy, your favorite player, Tyler. You wish you had him in Pittsburgh there under the tutelage of Tomlin. Vikings laying 4.5. That seems like too much to me.
Yeah, it does seem like a little bit too much, but I think I just have to stay away and bet this one live because I think Atlanta's offense is a little better than what they showed. A division game is a weird one against Tampa, but Minnesota's defense is pretty good. And I'm not sure how good their offense actually is because that first half is just a question mark now. So I think I'm just going to stay away and just watch this game, maybe bet it live. What is going on in that corner over there, Brett?
All right, I'm going to have to leave and come back. Jamie, break down this game between the Falcons and the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree with Tyler. This is gonna be a pass for me. Tyler and I were both pretty much in on JJ McCarthy, so I was pretty heavy on Vikings over the Bears. I'm just a big Kevin O'Connell fan. I think that he's a top 5 coach in the NFL. I think he gets the most out of all of his quarterbacks. He finally got his guy in JJ McCarthy, a guy that he went out there and drafted. So I think there's going to be some bumps in the road for JJ, like we saw at the beginning of that game. But we saw his ability late in that game, man. He's going to be a good runner. The guy's a gamer, man. He's a winner. So I am going to stay away. My lean would be for the Vikings, but I don't mind the Falcons either because I kind of like Michael Penix. Let's see what happens with Drake London. I know that he got a little banged up, but it sounds like he's probably going to play. Darnell Mooney might be back this week too. So these are both teams that I was maybe slightly higher on than the public.
Do the Vikings have anyone as good as Winfield?
I don't know. I mean, I don't love their defense. to be honest. But I think that their offense
Well, I
is.
think their defense is just predicated off that front seven and how crazy those blitz are. Even on the Manning cast, Peyton Manning was like, "What are they doing?" Like even he
Yeah.
was like, talking about it. So, all right, plus 4.5 there. Totals 45. Always take the under on Sunday night. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are taking on the Houston Texans, who I lamented earlier. Do I stay with my Texans love there? And this is Monday night, Jamie. Minus 2.5 at home. If you would have asked me before week 1, I would have been all over the Texans at this number. Now I'm a little hesitant. Am I just overreacting too much to week 1? Do you think the Texans get it right? I don't know, man. The Buccaneers are pretty good up the middle too of that defensive front line. It could be the same thing all over again. Yeah, Texans defense looked pretty good though, I thought, against the high-powered Rams offense. Your thoughts, Jamie? Texans laying 2.5, total 42.5.
Yeah, I'm on the Texans. I like the Texans here. I'm with you where I like their defense. I think they have probably a top 5 to 6 unit on the defensive side of the ball. Stroud did not look very good to me, but I anticipate a bounce back here. I think they're going to get Nico more involved. I like the addition of Jaden Higgins in the offseason. I thought he was a good draft pick. He was a guy I was kind of open if the Packers were going to take a receiver in the later rounds. Like he was a guy I would have liked the Packers to go get too. So I like the Texans here. I am slightly. I'm not as big on the Bucks this year. Like I said, I think generally we're going to see Baker regress a little bit. He looked really good. I mean, Baker's a fun guy to watch, but I like the Texans side here.
Tyler, man, I think that was the result that disappointed me the most. And you know what's crazy? I think if they lost 24-21, I wouldn't have felt as bad. But only putting up 9 points after I'd kind of touted the CJ Stroud comeback, and that was a tough pill for me to swallow. Will I be able to finally be a true Texan supporter at the end of this week here, Tyler? Or are the Buccaneers going to do it again and just give me another punch in the face?
No, I think that we're going to bounce back and Houston's going to get a win. I'll be on Houston with you guys. It'll be all 3 of us.
Okay.
That Tampa Bay line without Worse, man,
Yep.
They let Atlanta get pressure on Baker all game. They couldn't establish a run whatsoever. Bucky had 14 attempts for 37 yards. Rashad White had 2 for 14. Their highest rusher was Baker Mayfield. That was Atlanta's defense we're talking about. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have a run defense. Houston has both, and they're elite in both. They're going to be all over this offense. I don't think Baker's going to have time to get the ball on the field to these guys like Emeka Ibuka, who played great in his first NFL game. And I think that Nico Collins and these guys bounce back against a weaker defense. We touted the Rams defense. We think they're a really good unit. I don't think Tampa Bay is the same unit. So, and they let Penix throw for almost 300 yards. I think that CJ Stroud bounces back big way. Maybe gets that 300 yards, throws a couple of touchdowns, and they win that game at home.
All right. It's Texans time. Love it. Tyler, in my mind, the most impressive victory in week 1 was being like 78 years old, taking over a team you've never seen before, traveling all the way across the country to New England, defeating a great coach in Mike Vrabel. That's right. The Las Vegas Raiders are 1-0. Who would have thought? Actually, we did because we told you to take the Raiders. But now they're catching 3.5. I absolutely love the Raiders here. Jamie, I think this is a bad spot for the Chargers. They got to be feeling good off that win. And I think that international travel can take more out of you than people realize. Also, starting your first 2 games on the road. I don't know if that officially counted as a home game for the Chargers, right? But that's a lot of travel to start the year. You got to be feeling yourself. Everyone's telling you how great you are. I think the Raiders can keep this one close. I mean, even when the Raiders suck, this is one of those divisional home dogs plus 3.5 that we always love to take. Talk to me. Are you willing to share my new exuberance with Geno Smith, the Brock Bowers connection, the emergence of Dante Thornton, Jacoby Myers proving he's an established vet?
No, I'm passing on this. I would lean to the Charger side, to be honest. I just really like Justin Herbert. And you guys know that. I think if the Chargers continue with like this high pass rate over expectation and throwing the ball more than we all expected, Justin Herbert's going to get some MVP votes this year if the Chargers can, win 11 to 12 games. Justin Herbert's a good football player, man. Like he's super athletic. He can throw the ball. I know that, we look at like a lot of his playoff meltdowns, and I know that kind of hurts his perception a little bit. I just would like to back the Chargers. I just think they're a little better team. I think Jim Harbaugh is better than Pete Carroll, but I still, as a Raiders fan, I don't want to rain on your parade. You started off 1-0, so you should be happy. I'm gonna pass on it. Maybe if this would get down to like 2.5, get underneath the 3, then maybe I'd pull the trigger on the Chargers. But as of now, I'm just gonna pass. Not gonna bet it, and I hope for your sake, your Raiders can go 2-0.
Tyler, I got a resident Herbert hater with me. Are you ready to join me here? We're going to do the Raiders again?
I'm with you. We're on the Raiders. They're winning this game outright. They're winning this game outright. They're going to be in the 1 spot in this division after this week. It's going to be a fun time for spread next Tuesday. I'll tell you that. I just think it's such a bad spot for them. They pick up the win in Brazil when they weren't supposed to win. They looked better than anyone expected. Now they get to go to Vegas and hang out in Vegas for a couple of days before the game plays. And if we don't get them this week, though, we're going to get them next week, fading them when they go back home and play Denver. Because one of these 2 games, I think they lose. They do not start 3-0. So I'm going to take the Raiders here. I think that the Raiders pull out the win. I think Genty's able to establish the run. We didn't see the Chiefs able to establish the run because they were playing from behind right off the bat. And their offense was just sputtering because they lost Xavier Worthy in the beginning. Game plan goes right out the window. I think the Raiders are going to come in with a good game plan. They're going to be able to move the ball. Geno at home with Bowers and these guys. I'm on the Raiders.
Love it. I love to hear it. I am too. I mean, it's just one of those things. You can take the teams away.
Give me the over.
Just tell me it's a primetime game, and I get the divisional home dog at 3.5. I mean,
give me the over. I think you get.
It's so funny how you do this for so many years, and it's almost like playing chess, where if you start this, I'm going to always, do this. Some of these games, it'd be really hard for me, even take the names out, to lay at 3.5 with 2 teams coming off a win in a divisional road game. Jamie, obviously we gave out picks in every single game, but a lot of the people watching, they don't want to have 13 bets on their screen. If you could only play 1 bet this week and take the Packers out, because we already know that's your answer. Sunday and Monday only. What's your favorite bet of the week? You can do a total too, though, or a prop.
Okay. I like the Texans -2.5 as the best bet. If I was going to give a total, it would be the Denver Indy under. But I would go with the Texans -2.5. I think they bounce back here.
Tyler, what's your favorite bet of the week?
Favorite bet for the week, I will go with. Can I give it a teaser?
Of course.
We will go with the Patriots up from 1.5 to 7.5. And we will take, just because I don't see the Cowboys at 6, we will take the Cardinals from 6.5 down to 0.5 point.
All right. Well, guys, my favorite pick for the week is the New England Patriots. And this is basically just fade Miami. I wish we got to bring JC Zargo on so he can try and defend Mike McDaniel. But I think franchise is going in the wrong direction. And I think that, because we do like, at least Tyler and I like the Raiders. I don't think that the Patriots are as bad as the Raiders made them look. I think that offense is what Miami's was 2 years ago when they actually had some discipline and some leadership on their team. But I'm fading what's going down on there in Miami, in spite of the fact that New England's never traveled well. Jamie, final words of wisdom, and then I'm going to hit the outro.
Yeah, man, enjoy it. Football is back. It's the best time of the year. Let's have some fun.